And we are live, Campbell. We were
Let's
treated to
go.
we were treated to an absolute class stage of the Tour de France last night. Stage 9 saw what looked to be a reasonably difficult stage, but not out of control. Turned into a pretty tough day. We did get a tip though last night when we were talking at 5 p.m. I think through Facebook, someone tipped us off about how hard that last climb was, and they were not wrong.
Yeah, the Mary Col de Mary Blanc, super steep. Just kind of like a typical Pyrenees stage, wet, foggy, narrow roads, steep climbs. And we're in September as well, so we're 6 to 8 weeks further down the track away from the peak of summer. So you could see how cold it was at times last night, which just added to the difficulty of the stage.
Yeah, even got the rain jackets out.
Yeah, well, like I said, you could see how cold it was. The riders were breathing. You could see the whatever it is when it's cold coming out of their mouths.
Yeah,
and yeah, everyone was donning the rain capes. Most people were anyway.
yeah. If you do need a new rain cape though, Map have actually released a new rain jacket last week. If you want to pick one up at map.cc, our podcast partner as well.
Geez, that's a cheeky little plug for Map. This is a non-scheduled appearance for them, Albie.
There's a bit of value. Tebow was on the hunt early. We thought, oh yeah, Tebow could be back here. Look out. Oh, geez, it crashed and burned though. Not even at the top of the first climb.
I couldn't work it out. He was going wild off the front, looking like, oh my God, he's got his legs back. And then he's dropped and then he's coming back. He doesn't know where he's at. His body seems to be operating at a consistent level, but his head is gone. His head's gone. His head is not
lost.
His head's not as gone as F. Aru.
His head's gone, and geez, his career's going with it.
Jeez. And he copped a bit of a clip as well from management. I'm not sure if you saw that article on Cycling News. Just
what they say.
I don't have the quotes in front of me, but pretty much just that. They don't really know where he's at. Disappointing.
Well, we saw whispers of like a little bit of tension within the warehouse at can't remember what stage it was, where he went off the front on the last climb, just this rogue attack. And Pogacar said afterwards, I think it was clipped by the media somehow, that he had no idea what Aru was doing.
What was he doing?
Well, they don't know what he was doing. No one knows what he's doing.
But that also shows that his legs were okay. They weren't going warp speed up there, but not to be, his legs were good enough not to be the first guy dropped last night. To be doing 40K by yourself to eventually climb off. Like, if you're attacking in the mountains, your legs aren't that bad. So, same sort of story. Just, not really coping psychologically.
Yeah. He's 30 years old.
Aru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Won the Welter 5 years ago.
Goes quick.
He's got a real good Palmares, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. If he can step back and reinvigorate his career, or whether this is the end of the line.
Well, it's probably the end of the line in terms of his GC ambitions at UAE. The way Pogacar, is faring.
He's moving, isn't it? We saw a move eventually go. Geez, that start looks so hard. That looks so hard.
Clearly, the peloton listened to our unpack the other day. Suggesting that no one was keen enough to make the break. It was the opposite. Last night, every man and their dog thought they were a chance, and it took 60 odd K for a breakaway to kind of go. And by that point, the race was further enough down the road that it was close enough to the finish that the GC teams could keep it together. to a certain extent. And that's what happened. It ended up not being a day for the breakaway, only just. But one man, Mark Hershey, made everyone sweat right to the finish, and that was some ride. He was really pushing for that early break, and eventually just ended up going on his own. And his interview after the race, I thought he was going to start crying, and he would have had every right to. Yeah.
He went from so far out. He was Also, you think you look at the breakaway and how hard they were going at the start, and then you see these poor guys when the breakaway hasn't gone yet. They've been busting themselves for the last 30 clicks trying to make the move, and then they hit this Cat 4 and they just start getting spat out the back.
Yeah. It's going, That's the thing. Like you commit really hard on a stage like that. If it hasn't gone by that point, everyone is absolutely legless. And by the time you get to the climb, like I said, the GC teams kind of sniff a result. So they're pushing the tempo on the climb. You've been going flat out for an hour and 20 minutes. And you got nothing left, and there were some big time gaps as well.
Huge time gaps. Interestingly, about the breakaway, Ineos had someone in the move. Don't know when the last time that happened at the Tour.
Shift of focus, was it to have someone up the road, or was it, genuinely to go and hunt out a stage? We won't know, but you're right. I don't think we've ever seen them go up the road. Eddie the Boss won 2 stages in 2011, I think, when Brad Wiggins crashed out. But that's really the only time I can remember them hunting stages like that.
UAE and Samsec also had guys in the move. So it was a hot move to be in. And then, as per every other stage, Wout van Aert took control of the bunch and just ripped them all a new one.
Yeah. Yep, they were super strong. Gesink as well. Always looks like he's on the rivet.
Always
when
hanging.
He's climbing.
Gangly.
He was good. They got something out of Sepp Kuss as well. George Bennett, Tommy D. So everyone played their role from that team. And Primoz was cool enough and strong enough to keep everyone at bay on that last climb, which turned out to be awfully hard.
We saw, like we were talking about the other day, how good it was to see just one out racing, 1v1v1, and we got that treatment again.
Yeah, we did
on the last climb. Gee, it was good.
Yeah, it's refreshing, isn't it? It's nice to see. Just not this, 3 or 4 guys just dragging a leader up the climb, and it gives opportunity for people to attack. No one got away, but those 4 that went to the finish, they are looking very strong. And Richie was so close to getting onto those 4. He was there, but then when they attacked over the top for the bonuses, he just got dropped and then lost a little bit of time on the downhill as well.
Yeah, he was solid. He was really good though. We saw like they were going full noise up there. This was not kind of half-hearted where he was hanging off the back. Bernal put in an attack. Pogačar put in an attack as per every climb.
Yeah.
Roglic was doing the job. Well, not doing the job, but working pretty hard to get up that climb. And yeah, it was promising signs.
I was almost expecting Roglic to be released, him to just throw it down. I guess that valley to the finish was probably a little bit of a deterrent for someone to try and go solo. And really, Roglic can just go full defense until that penultimate day TT. Really, I mean, I don't see that happening. There's so much racing to go, and if there's an opportunity that arises, I know there's 2 big mountaintop finishes that he might try and take time on. But if he wanted to, he could just go on defense until that TT.
Well, his defense is just munching a massive gear in the saddle, just churning. So strong.
When he just rides across a gap, it's just like boom, closed it.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
It's so hard to gauge how much pressure he's actually under. Quintana slightly off the mark in the second move.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not off the mark, but wasn't quite with the 4 that went over the top. Pogačar, Roglic, Bernal, and Landa.
Yeah. And you could probably, Port, like we were talking about, was just off the back, but Quintana was, with, I don't know who he went over the top with, but I'm guessing it was Martin, Bardet,
Rigo, yep.
And Boca as well.
Boca got back on the downhill.
He's genuinely moving here. We've kind of taken the piss a little bit at the start of the tour that there was going to be this internal rivalry.
Well, there still is. The Trek Cup is up for stakes.
Yeah, it is, but it's kind of nice to see. It's kind of nice to see Boca there being able to help Richie, just another man there to really pull those guys to the finish.
Help Richie or race Richie?
I genuinely don't think there's any animosity there.
Okay. You reckon they're sitting down at the dinner table just holding into a bit of pasta going?
I've got no idea what they do at the dinner table, but it doesn't seem like there's any tension in the warehouse yet.
Apart from that, though, it was, apart from the stage being a little bit of a surprise how much of a showdown it was, except for Harisha, like there was no real...
Haricha?
Hershey, sorry. Haricha. Oh, I got that wrong. Hershey.
Swiss Spanish.
Swiss Spanish writer. Except for Mark Hershey. Kind of expected the GC battle in the end. Nothing, no real surprises. Lopez slightly off the mark.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could say there was a big movement at the station with Yates not being able to go with the front guys or even that second group that crested the top of the Mary Blanc. So I guess that's one kind of talking point, but the way that Matt White was talking, they were never really here for yellow. We were debating that, whether that's true or not, but he's probably looking at the guys that were in front of him last night. He's probably the 10th or the 12th best climber at the moment. So he's now in a bit of a tricky position. Yates, he's at a minute, so he's not further enough down to be able to go for stages, and he's not really close enough to or showing the legs to be able to attack and go on the hunt to take yellow back. So it'll be interesting to see what they do now, whether he try and loses 20 minutes on the next mountain stage or tries to hang in there for a top 10.
Sits up on the sprint stage.
Well, I'm not sure whether we're going to talk about it in this or the actual podcast tomorrow, but stage 10 is on the coast. Genuine chance for some crosswinds.
A little bit of wind.
Tuesday.
Yeah. So we've got a new race leader. Movistar also moved into the leadership of the team's classification, just to continue that tradition.
Can we talk a little bit about the last 7 or 8K?
Yep.
What were your thoughts on... So, Hershey, he crested the top with about 10 seconds. Super descender, by the way. Looks so smooth.
Smooth, isn't he? Yeah.
Super smooth on the downhill. Almost unhitched himself in the early stages of the stage, hunting for the breakaway. But more or less, very nice to watch on the downhill. Bit of a valley road, slightly uphill to the finish. Stretched his margin out to 30 odd seconds, and then got the call from the team car with about 3K to go to sit up when the gap was about 10 seconds.
It was the ultimate dilemma, wasn't it?
Yeah, in his interview, he was kind of saying, that the team car said to sit up and go for the sprint, which, looking back, wasn't the right decision. But at the time, it was a genuine 50-50, and you can see why they made the call. We got super close to beating Alaphilippe in the sprint on stage 2 in Nice, but at the same time, he had been out there for 100K solo and then gets 4 minutes to rest on the back of the GC guys to do a sprint. It was, I don't know, it was a tricky one.
Super tricky. It was almost, it's obviously very easy to look back on it now and make your judgment. But I think if that decision was going to be made, it almost had to come a couple of K earlier. Just because, as you said, like it was only 3 to 5 minutes of rest. Like it was next to nothing.
Yeah,
it wasn't even resting. You're still these guys were still going full gas.
Yep.
So you're sitting on the back, false flat uphill. Wasn't exactly smooth sailing. But yeah, it was almost like you need to go. It was the ultimate dilemma. Do you wait up and risk that the two groups are going to come back together, or do you punt on that these guys are going to stay away? You can be part of this group of four, and then based off his performance against Alaphilippe the other day, he would have torched the bunch kick. But he was awfully fatigued, and he went long in the sprint.
He went from over 200 meters to go. He did go long. In a normal situation, he's the quickest guy there, but 100k breakaway, hitting out from 220. Yeah, I mean, if he had his time again, he probably would have rolled the dice and continued to go solo the last 3k, and we probably would have seen the GC guys maybe jockey a little bit for that second place time bonus, which might have allowed Hershey to press on and build his margin. But I think he's just going to have to live with that call. But it was
tough.
It was a very tricky one.
He's so strong though. To go that long from the finish, and maintain a gap, and like I know that those guys hunted him down, but it was a group of four, and they were all working together. It looked like Pogacar was hooking turns, like he was going hell for leather.
He was ripping through harder than anyone else, wasn't he?
Yeah, you see Burnout tap through, and then Pogacar jam it through. Like this guy means business.
Yep.
So it's still super impressive, but yeah, I think you had to make the call a bit earlier, and you had to punt on that. Well, actually, you had to punt on that really, except for if you look at who was in that next group. I don't know if anyone would have beaten him in the kick, even if that group did come back together and there was potentially 11 riders.
Well, I don't think it was ever about that Port group coming back. Really, I don't think they were ever in the equation.
Well, I think if the Port group came back, it would have been in his advantage, in his best interest to stay away, as in keep his solo ambitions alive, in the sense that they would have played the game a little bit more. He wouldn't have Pogacar ripping turns.
Yeah.
Versus if this group, the four that did stayed away, he would have been better to sit up and wait for them and just got to get a free toe to the finish.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about how good Pogacar, whatever it is. I don't know how to. Is it Pogacar?
Much of a matcher.
How good he was at the end of the little debrief we had yesterday. 3 stage wins at the Vuelta, and now adding a Tour de France stage win, looking like one of the 2 strongest guys in the tour. He's incredible. It's redonk.
He's dynamic as well.
And we talked about it. He is confident. Yeah, he is a confident bloke. I mean, we talk about guys down on confidence, Aru and Pinot. This guy is at the other end of it. He knows he's good.
He looks like a real racer.
He does. Yep. He's every stage he's been the first to take it on, the first to attack.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, now losing that time in the crosswinds, he's kind of in a position where he needs to. But I feel even if he was equal on time with these other guys, he'd be still throwing it down. For mine.
For you. If you were to revise your GC predictions, what would your podium look like from here?
You always look like a dickhead when you redo it. You get it wrong on the first day. You get it wrong at the first rest day. So
we've got Roglic in the yellow, Bernal 21 seconds, Martin at 28, Bardet at 30, Quintana at 32, Uran 32, Pogacar 44.
I mean, as it stands now, I'd probably go Primoz to win, Pogacar second, and Bernal third. We talked yesterday briefly that Bernal is building it really looks like he is building. The team wasn't really there to help yesterday. I'm not sure where Carapaz came in yesterday.
Was in that second group.
Okay, he was in he was in that second group with, or we could say third group with Yates and Lopez. So he's okay. But yeah, we were quite off Ineos at the start of the pre-tour pod that we did. I don't think I had him on the podium. Maybe I did. Anyway, I'm going to go Bernal in third. So the two Slovenians and then Bernal.
What do you reckon about Landa?
Landa's
1 minute
looking good.
42 down. 1 minute 42
he's looking
down.
really good. Just worry. I know that's the TT. It's a really tricky TT, 36k, and finishing on the plunge to Belfis, super steep 5k climb. But I feel he might lose the most time out of those three on the TT. But there's still a lot of racing to go before then. But I like Landa, but I'm probably not going to put him on my podium just yet. I need to see a little bit more. You?
Yeah, I think Primoz is just going to ride his way to Paris in the seat. Just pure strength. I think Bernal showed yesterday he's going to be on the podium. A little cheeky attack, building into it, but he's going to find his place on the podium solo. He's not going to have oodles of team support. Nairo to come good. That experience, a little bit off the mark yesterday.
So one of these French boys, Martin and Bardet, gonna get the ass
at
some point.
Yeah, it's got to happen. At some point.
I mean, we're 9 days in, and Martin is third on GC.
Yeah,
who I don't think anyone would have tipped that.
7 seconds off last year's winner.
Yeah,
it's pretty impressive. We've got a rest day tomorrow. Flat stage the day after. Genuine sprint in theory, unless the wind is up. And yeah, we'll tune in tomorrow.
What are you doing? What's the plan tomorrow? Are we
Genuine podcast
tomorrow?
Yeah.
Have you teed up a guest yet?
No.
Working on it.
Are
we going to be doing the podcast? It's not going to be live, is it?
Well, it could be.
Could be. Maybe not. Maybe
not. Depending on if we can get if we don't get a guest, we might as well just go on here again.
Yeah.
A little bit disappointed we didn't get any questions today.
Flat.
That's all right.
Just one last talking point. Bit of confusion this morning. SBS Tour Tracker app, DNFs, C Ewan. It was a little bit confusing. I needed to scroll Twitter and other avenues to confirm that wasn't the case. So if anyone's wondering, he's still in the race. Just a bit of confusion on the Tour Tracker.
Big group header at 29 minutes down, 29-27. But yeah, good to see.
Cool.
All right. Well, hopefully we've got a guest tomorrow.
Yeah, let's hope so.
And thanks, Campbell.